Okay, welcome everyone to the 27th Health Teaching Workshop of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. And this week we'll be listening to Mr. Keshe of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, and Dr. Elia Kostova will be taking a break this week. And we'll be answering, Mr. Keshe will be answering questions and having a number of topics which will prove to be interesting to discuss. So, we have a picture of the skin, which I thought was one of the more, let's say, emotional pictures of the health workshops. So, Mr. Keshe, would you like to start off in an emotional way for our viewers today?
As usual, good morning, good afternoon, good day to you. This is the second teaching session of today, and it'll be interesting to see what we get as questions asked us that we can answer. In so many ways, this picture brings a lot of things in all aspects of the technology together. The matter, the GANs, the worthlessness of the existence on this planet. If life is like a skin, just as it is hanging, why do we fight for, and why we try to stay alive, and we see diseases and illnesses as one of the ways for destruction of this cloth of the man? There's a lot of philosophy behind it, there's a lot of thoughts behind. Is it worth to do so much crime to save the skin? And then the strongest man on this planet, the last minutes of their life, give everything to keep that skin in action and alive. Now let's see what are the questions. If there are any questions which is relevant today, we just answer questions. If not, we say goodbye and we have an early closing. Any question in relation to the health? If you have, you can put it on, or you can ask the question. And if you have none, that'll be very easy. We have no questions.
Well, I have a question. I'm not quite sure how to phrase it right yet, but I'll just try to make it anyways. When we've gone through the health workshops, we've gone through so many different areas of the body, and we've investigated all these different organs and different systems of the body in different ways. We've viewed everything from the tip of the nose down to the tip of the toes, basically, and in many different ways, from an anatomy point of view, from the regular doctor's perspective, and right through to the plasma perspective. And it seems like we can, as humans, we have this ability to take on different viewpoints according to our whim, essentially. So we can see ourselves as this bag of skin that we see on the picture here, or we can see ourselves as a series of organs that are interrelating as reactors, for example, that Elia has brought up and Mr. Keshe has brought up as well. So I guess my question is, who are we really if we're able to move around through, in, out, and around our bodies with our viewpoint, to be able to see all these different wonderful perspectives? Then where is the we? Who is the we? Who is the I that is behind that viewpoint? And I'm trying to get more at the core of who we are in that way. I'm hoping that something can get expressed from Mr. Keshe in that manner. Is that clear, or did I just talk too long?
I think you are too clear. But what I always say, we have mothers and the fathers to give life to children. And in that process, they give life to unconditional, undimensional entity, what we call the soul. That's the purpose of life. The byproduct of the creation of the soul, for the soul to evolve, the feeding part, and station-wise is left with the residual, what we call the human body. Human body is nothing but a leech which is needed for the soul to be created, for it to live unconditionally, to be able to absorb and exist in the non-dimensional existence, in the present existence of its own strength. So what this means is that we are not created to be eating machines and criminal machines and do everything wrong. The purpose of the birth is creation of a detached entity from the physicality. And a lot of you have seen, but you don't understand. Go back to the star formation. We put matter into the state of GANs, and then we take the fields of it which are pure enough and conditioned to be attached to create a free plasma. And then when we put the free plasmas together, we create a master plasma, the mother plasma, or the essence plasma. The free plasma in the physicality of the man is the soul of the man. It's more or less what we call the intention and the feeling of it. And with connection to the soul which creates in respect to interaction with other fields, free matters. So man always looked that he is important for his physicality, and all the things he's done to promote the color of the skin. But in fact, the process of creation has created the physicality as a leech for it to lead to the creation of the soul of the man, which is unconditional, and then it creates pure essence energies. What we call energies plasmatic gravitational, which is unconditional and leads to the same point, to the essence of the creation of the soul of the Creator. I made man in the image of myself, not the physicality. It's the soul. When you put the reactors, 3 of them together, you create one free plasma. When you put 3 of the free plasmas or 4 of them together, then you create another plasma, which is free. The first free plasma was conditioned to the physicality of what you put in your core, CO2, cans of copper oxide or whatever. Then that free plasma, in interaction with other free plasmas, in sharing its energy, which is not contained with physicality, leads, and as you will see in the coming time, to creation of what we call the mother plasma. And then that mother plasma of the souls, in conjunction with other mother plasmas, leads to the second level, to the third level. And then in 7 levels of the creation leads to the Creator. I made man in the image of myself. Does not matter if you take the shape of human being or you take a shape of any kind of aliens you call it. Physicality is to convert the energy to a conditional, non-containable, non-physical strength that with it, it carries the essence of the creation. So now you might understand, is it worth fighting for that color skin hanging on the wall? In fact, does not matter how many people you hurt, how many people hurt you, what you eat, what you destroy, what you achieve in life, in a physical dimension, only the souls which affect you or you affect their souls will dictate the strength of the soul you have created, then the station of what you can, in what structure belong to be part of the creation. Not in the physical matter, but in part of the creator. So, if you have less fields, it's like in your star formation. You find there is a leakage, you cannot catch up. So if you don't create a strong one, we put you in a core, in a setting which matches your strength. So when you do good in life, when good means when you receive part of the soul of another creature by consent, not by stealing, then you become of that level of the strength. And in the world of creation, in essence, true essence of the structure, we have 12 levels of creation. And the highest stays with the creator. Then you understand, you put CO2 GANs, you put copper oxide GANs, you put mixture of gases, is totally irrelevant compared to when you see the total structure of the unconditional creation of the plasmas of what we call free plasma. So those who fight for nothing will receive nothing, because at the end of it, what you receive, you have to give. And what if you receive and you don't have to give compared to what you receive, then you add to your strength to be in the order of what it is, what we call a free plasma of a different strength. And every structure has its own levels. So this is why we try to bring everybody that the whole system structure works as a balance. Now you understand the life worth nothing, the physicality. It's just to create a condition for the creation of the soul, what you call the free plasma. And you've seen whatever you put in, what you create, the free plasma. And if the free plasma works in harmony and in conjunction to the strength of the others, you've seen the 129 Tesla. And if you understood the explanation, I've said this before, when there was a need from the other two sets of reactors in the lab, the 129 Tesla was released. So the master reactor which released it became part of the creator, because it can feed the ones which are lower. So we've seen a matter to the state of the elevation, that it becomes part of the creation to feed the others through field energy, what we call the soul. Let the man kill as much as he likes, and let the man destroy as much as he likes, but what it takes from the soul of the others. And then I want to know how many world leaders will go and fight. Every cry of a mother or a loss of a child is part of the soul of the world leaders taken away. Then you understand where most of the world leaders stray in the structure of the universe, at the lowest of the low. That's why we abolished the kingship and leadership, because we don't even want their souls to be that low that it brings the others down. I explained this in the opening session of next Tuesday. That's why we introduce a new structure, a structure in the world order. When we had weaker reactors in the lab, They were so weak that they needed field energy from the reactor, which was a free plasma hanging and it was releasing. There was so much hunger that they were taking from the mother, this free plasma. No one has ever understood what happened in that lab, and I tried to explain it before. So, when the physicality is correct, is made, because you have to understand how that reactor setup was set. That reactor setup was set with a pure heart and intention to serve, and it did serve. And you look at the other reactors, the way it was set by the people who came to murder. That's why you saw such 129 Tesla. The pull, the need to be elevated because they knew of the crime they had in their hand. And if one man created 129 demand, imagine what the soul of the world leaders need. Now who wants to be a world leader? Then you understand the whole structure of physicality is meaningless. Then what's the purpose of being as part of the created and creatures on any level in any part of the universe? As is in the writing, no man will pick up the crown of kingship once they understand the reason the way we explain now. And you ask the question, what's the purpose of life? In a way, when you're pure, you're there without you knowing, to help the ones which are thieving and stealing and killing, that you elevate their souls, that the totality is strong enough to elevate yourself to the next level. That's the purpose of living. Look at the time when 129 was achieved. It was at the highest point when the biggest crime was done in the lab, trying to murder me. The soul who put all those things with a face of sincerity needed a lot, and the reactors responded to it. Because it was the lowest of low. When you go for a life of a man, it means your soul is in the doldrums. So you need it. So the reactors were touched by the crime. And so, when you need 129 just to be alive as a soul, to be in existence, imagine what happened to the world leaders which ordered the murder of thousands, of wars for no reason. If the world leaders know what is happening, is about to happen to them, and where is the station of soul on their death, they will find out they'll never want to be in that position, because it's the soul which matters, not the physicality. We're done with the kingships and prophethood. And that's the reason. Because even the prophets made the mistakes that made it worse, because when the king finishes, his cycle is finished. But the prophets, the way they carried out murders and dishonesty in their physicality, is still carrying on for thousands of years. And it's still with the same structure. So that's why it's finished. We see the pattern that Moses started in his physicality is still followed by his followers thousands of years down the line in the state of Israel, in respect to Palestinians and the rest of the world. Nothing has changed. Monkey see what monkey does. The same thing has happened with the followers of Muhammad. And the others. Now, This is where the physical, where does the physical, what's the purpose of this? The purpose of physicality is just to give life, existence to the purity of the soul. And no more. Where that soul in its purity gives for the structure and development of the next level. Any other question? It says, the question says, why some people have one of their eyes one color and the other color? Do that mean that they see the world differently? Yes, it does. On stability and mixture of characters, or on stability in a chaos of balance internally. This we see especially even with the people with the mixed color eyes. When you have a mixture color eyes, it means you see a different spectrum. And when you see a different spectrum, you think different and you see your position different. A lot of mental conditions can be assessed by the color of the eye. And the shape and the position of the eye. Any other question? I hope I answered you, Rick.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Kesh. That was a lovely answer. It's
Oh, it's not a lovely answer.
it's an ongoing
That's
question that the answer is slightly different every time and fresh each time. So thank you.
yeah, because we try to go in more depth as you understand more.
Mm-hmm.
If I tell you what I know, you will run.
Yes, no doubt.
Or you call me a lunatic and put me in a silent box.
Yeah, it's even after the last, well, it's been years now of hearing you speak and so on. It's still still very much a shock occurs of sorts when during virtually every workshop, because of this the things that get revealed are in the sense of the human structure are quite powerful, or just say enlightening, and that too much of that all at once can be hard to take, and I can see why there needs to be some holding back of some of the technology and the knowledge, because it would overwhelm us to hear it.
I think as we get educated, it becomes normal, and more people understand the structure. One of the biggest problem is the fear of understanding and accepting the truth. And with man has been that problem. The fear of the truth has been very, very harsh. And this will carry on for time being and for centuries to come. You see, when you've been frightened or been put the fear into you about something which you know nothing about, then you carry that fear and you teach that fear. And then it becomes reality because everybody else has accepted it. This we see about racism, this we see about religions, this we see with about nationhood, and it carries on. A very good example of it is the state of Belgium. If you look at the structure of the nation structure is set to hate. Because if you don't hate, you do not exist and you don't see division. Where in other cultures, this is reversed into loving and amalgamating. What happened in the state of Belgium? You have the Flemish and you have the French and you have the Germans. And if you don't hate the French, you have no identity as Belgian, as a Flemish. So from childhood, this separation of language, street by street and river by river, one side of the river is French and one side is Flemish, is enhanced and inbred in people. As you inbreed separation, you create isolation, and then you create abnormal behaviors because you do not understand what the other side says. So you have to marry internally or you have nothing to do. And that's why we see huge misconducts in the culture of the Flemish people, like child abuse, because they don't communicate with the other one, they're becoming inbreed of themselves. Where do you go? And then, if you look at the French Belgians, the mentality is different because they see themselves connected to a big nation like France. They don't think the way the Flemish do. Their mentality is totally different, very open. But if you speak to the Flemish, they have the hate for the French because that's what by hate they can have their own existence and their own confirmation of they are different. But the question to put to them is, why should we all be different? Why should we all be one? And then when you hate the French, which are part of your nation, half of your nation, then hating the others become a normality. Black, Americans, what you call Spanish, and the rest. Because we got to learn one process to become one, then try to separate by colors and nations. And this is where we have to learn as a race. Then we find out half of the wars are meaningless. I mean, all the wars are meaningless, but coming through the race and the color and the religion, there is no meaning. We see another kind of separation now, the same way with the religions. At the moment, the Christianity has a field day because they produce most of the arms and they control the banking system. So everybody else has to be made worse, and that now at the moment the Muslims are at the receiving end of it. Where the Muslims in the past were on the other side. They did wrong and now they get done wrong to them back the way they had a chance. But they never learn. Man has never learned. We've seen with the state of Israel. They get slaughtered, they get punished and vanished in every way possible in early, mid last century. And you usually learn from the hardship. And you learn what is wrong, that you don't do it with others. What did they do? They managed to create the state of Israel, and they are doing 100 times worse than what Hitler done to them. To the Palestinians and to the others. So they haven't learned, and that's why they've been banished and abolished. Because they were supposed to put it right, and they did not put it right, they got worse. When you go to Tel Aviv, you get in the taxi, and ask for a certain destination, for example, in Haifa. You bus, the taxi doesn't know if he stops with a Palestinian and asks a question. They send you to one side of the city and the taxi goes there. And then they send you to the other side if you ask a Jew. And it's very funny how you get around if you are in that position. Where there should have been trust and equality has become mistrust in the name of belief in the same creator. And all through physicality. We are here to change the time through the right way, hopefully through the right people. And the process starts in the coming time. Then man realizes that the physicality has no value. Any other question?
There is a question in the chat. Can Mr. Kesh tell a bit more about the female Mithra he was mentioning in a former workshop?
Go on the internet and read everything about it. What has been left on the internet about Mitra? Because Vatican spend a lot of money wiping out, getting everything off the internet, which dictates and indicates towards Mitraism and what you know as a Catholic religion. Because in fact, another name for Catholic religion is Mitraism, or Mitraism name in Europe is Catholicism. There is no difference. And for over centuries, they have done everything to wipe it out, that it doesn't show. But if you can find very few articles on the internet about Mitraism, and you will see actually the other name of, European name of Mitraism is Catholic religion. And every structure within Catholicism is a copy of what Mitraism is. Mitra was born of a virgin mother. Everything else, just search on the internet. But Vatican is spending a lot of effort in trying to get these things off the face of internet at the moment, because you see pages which were there a few months or a few years ago, now they are not there, because there were more detailed information. But then you have to go into the past of the Zoroastrians and the Parsis in India, in their original books, and you find out the 12 days of Christmas, the lighting of the Christmas, the celebrations, and how they changed the date from to bring it into January, into Christmas. How Christ died, the 12 disciples, the 12 days of this Christmas, which ends with same as the Zoroastrians and the Parsis, where we celebrate the 13th day after 12. The lighting on the Christmas tree, the whole process of Christianity on the Catholic side is a copy of the Mitraism. And part of the structure of the Mitraism was set according to the order of the Creator. And it got diluted more and more. The structure of religions and the belief goes with the structure of the human body and number of human beings on this planet. The earth was pure. There were no germs. There were no diseases. So one could make another, and two could become more. And we survived, and we became more and more. And now that there are too many of us, diseases are becoming prevalent. We are eating into our own structure of the humanity, with diseases, killing, and the rest. It's the same with the religions. It's got diluted too far, and now it is. Now you put the Mithraism in comparison, and then you put it with Christianity. It's on the net. A lot of it has been destroyed. Vatican spends huge amount of money on the internet system to get this off the net, because it gives no validity to the station of Pope. It's a uniform worn by the soldiers of things which is just a belief in nothing but murder. You have to look, as we say, the structure of why you carry a cross, and go back to the history of the Rome. Cross was a point of fear. If you do not follow, we put you on the cross. If you do wrong, we put you on the cross. Now they make you to wear the cross with the belief that is right. I'm afraid to be on that cross. It's not the love, it's the fear of obedience, not obeying. Then you understand the structure. The original believers of Mithraism were pure, understood. It's like beginning of man. Man, where everything was clean, there were hardly any viruses and infections. We gathered, we increased in numbers. Otherwise all would have died. But as diversion came, more diseases, and now we see. It's the same with the beliefs. If you go back to the position of one belief in serving, and not what has been put as to be the creator or being close to the creator, because you understand, like the free plasma, what you put in adds to the totality in the correct way, then you understand there is no need for creating structure in believing in what they want you to believe, but you know yourself what is right and what is wrong, and what it has to be done. That's why there is no need now that the man has the knowledge of the universe the way we are teaching. You understand you are part of the creator, and creator is kind and omnipotent. So if goes wrong, it's you who's done wrong. Would you like to be wrong? And that's, if you understand this, then we go to the process of world peace and equality of the races and humanity in the space. I was explaining this in a very simple way a few minutes ago. If you understood about the 129 Tesla, and you know how much energy was put by the Americans to create 102 or 3 Tesla, how many gigawatts, megawatts? Then you understand, when we created 129 Tesla, how much energy was within that. That could not cover even the crime of murdering a man by the man who wanted to receive it. Then you can imagine how much is worse done and what is needed to change. Little by little, the souls give, and the rest will change. But the ones who cannot change will receive it in their own way, that their souls will change them. There will be a lot of opposition to Keshe Foundation coming from Vatican in the coming time. We know it, because this way there is no reason, when the Creator is present, to have others claiming that they know the way to the path to the Creator. Why do you need deputies when you are present yourself to speak in front of you, for you and instead of you? And every man carries the soul of the Creator.
I think that was one of the big problems with the church with aliens, is they would have to have the structure of the priests and the various in-betweens, and since they didn't have that set up, there couldn't be any aliens.
Now they're
So,
trying to say they exist. They think they have set it up.
yeah. So
Yeah,
now they're in a bit of a
speaking,
clinch. Pardon me?
uh, in a, in a way, the society is becoming open to the abuses of the name of God in brick and mortar. This is the problem. This is what has to be sorted when we do it in Keshe Foundation. And this is why, as I said, we don't see any Muslims around the Keshe Foundation main core. Is what I raised this a few times before. When they ask us about how I explain to them how when you go to a space where is a Mecca to pray with, when the earth is rotating and you are rotating in the other side of the other galaxies. Puts question mark in the belief and trust of the man in himself and his own conduct. Not in the station of Muhammad, blessed his name. It means I can do wrong and then I can find a place to direct my wrong thing to the right way and hope that I receive something. But in a way, they don't understand when you do wrong, you already gone to the lower level of the solar structure. A lot of people ask me, so what's the station of the person like Hitler? You don't want to know. There is not enough in the universe to get that soul moving from where it sits. And in a way, the leaders of Israel and America are not very far behind. And in the Islamic world, on the different names and on the different rules. And the same with the Vatican as sits in the Islamic leadership. And with Christians and the Jews and the rest and the rest. Murders are carried out on a continuous basis on the name of national interest. What national interest when there is only one nation and that's humanity? And now the leaders who signed these documents for murdering, now they know how much they have to pay. No one will carry the what I call the seat of kingship and the leadership, because they know the decision will harm a single person. And then they have to pay it with their soul. They haven't understood this. If they watch the video of the 129 Tesla, they understand how much. We have not managed to teach man that his physicality worth nothing compared to what he does with his soul. It's the soul which exists, not the physicality. And then would you like to leave yourself in that position? And they think, so when I die, is nothing happened. When you die, then you have to live with the soul. That's very matters, and this is what nobody has understood up to now. It's the soul which accepts and stays as the station of this with conduct of the physicality. Any other questions?
There is a health question. I'm not sure if it's appropriate, but I'll run it by you anyway. It's what we have. Polycystic ovary syndrome. Is there a way to reverse the effects it has on a person's hormones?
can you ask them what, can they explain what exactly that is? And why it happens? It means, don't touch me, I don't want to be touched. I'm there for the look, and the rest hurts. And then you understand it does affect the hormones. Just Google it and see what it is. If you can Google it and put it on the screen, then you know what it means. If you put it on the screen and read it on a Google, Wikipedia is usually a good place to go to.
I think it's cysts that grow on the ovaries that cause hormone imbalances and deficiencies and producing androgens in women and cysts and whatnot. That's what I know from it already, but I'm not sure.
Just read it, put it on, read it. What it does, why is it there, and why it comes in that position.
You gonna read it, Rick?
Wikipedia, read it, Rick, please, if you can.
Sure. Okay. Polycystic ovary syndrome, also called hyperandrogenic anovulation or Stein-Leventhal syndrome, is a set of symptoms due to a hormone imbalance in women. Symptoms include irregular or no menstrual periods, heavy periods, excess body and facial hair, acne, pelvic pain, trouble getting pregnant, and patches of thick, darker, velvety skin. Associated conditions include type 2 diabetes, obesity, obstructive sleep apnea, heart disease, mood disorders, and endometrial cancer. PCOS, as it's called, is due to a combination of genetic and environmental factors. Risk factors include obesity, not enough physical exercise, and a family history of someone with the condition. Diagnosis is based on two of the three findings: no ovulation, high androgen levels, and ovarian cysts. Cysts may be detectable by ultrasound. Other conditions that produce similar symptoms include adrenal hyperplasia, hypothyroidism, and hyperprolactinemia. PCOS has no cure. Treatment may involve lifestyle changes such as weight loss and exercise. Birth control pills may help with improving the regularity of periods, excess hair, and acne. Metformin and anti-androgens may also help. Other typical acne treatments and hair removal techniques may be used. Efforts to improve fertility include weight loss, clomiphene, and metformin. In vitro fertilization is used by some in whom other measures are not effective. It goes on. It's the most common endocrine disorder.
I think the answer sits in the first paragraph. Look at the symptoms, and if it is deep enough, felt, and recognized, then is registered in RNA, which is the emotional part, and in process is passed on through RNA as a fingerprint of physicality into DNA. So you have to go into the life of the mother and the grandmother, how they lived, what relationship they had. When you're fat and ugly, nobody looks at you. When you're complaining of the pain, nobody wants to be near you. When you're a woman and you have a facial hair, nobody comes near you because you're a man, not a woman. These are all signs of rejection. And if the pain, emotional pain, has been so much in the present life or in the past life of the mother, grandmother, or the blood descends on the mother side, which they had to be in a position not wanting to be touched or being in pain, then you understand this is an emotional problem, and then you have to go into understanding the emotional problem in the gene, the RNA structure of the blood, the family. So this disease is more or less psychosomatic, as most of the diseases are, and systems like we develop work for this technology very well. Let me give you a tip of the people who are on the health side or come on the health side. From next 3-4 weeks, don't miss a second of the workshops, health workshops, and the health teachings on the what you call the online teaching. We will bring a new way of health for a space into the teaching. Go online, register for yourself for just even for just to be part of the health teaching. It will be shocking to a lot of people how the world of medicine in the space has changed. And will be shown, it will be done directly how to do it. The way you build reactors, we show you how to make health systems in a correct way. So the whole structure is this disease has, when it becomes genetic, what does genetic means? Look at the genetic, what does it create? A disorder, and the reason for that disorder, what are the consequences of that disorder? If you are a woman and you have a facial hair, a lot of facial hair, what does it mean? Unless you are of the, let's say, mentality of a mind that you like to sleep with a hairy man, you find a hairy woman attractive. And when you're hairy as a woman, no man likes to be with you, unless they see something different. So this way you protect yourself from harm. Psychologically, you feel safe. But this could not be applicable to you, what has happened to your parents, your mother, your grandmother, great-great-grandmother. Scientifically, it's been said that we carry the structure of the feeling of our ancestors through 500 generations. We cannot go back 400 generations to see where your grandfather abused a grandmother because he liked somebody else, and then you didn't want to be touched because it's already somebody else, so you grew hair that you didn't want to be with a man. So it became part of RNA, DNA, and now you receive it. And that's why part of the technology we developed in the psychological part goes back to the essence of the RNA. We touch the what we call the structure of the creation. I explain RNA in a very simple way. RNA is on the disk on the CD-ROM. You plan what is going to be, you put the CD-ROM in a 3D printer. Then whatever is on that CD is printed as an object in your 3D, three-dimensional system. If you put a fault on that information, you get a hole in your 3D object. There is no difference between RNA and a CD and a DNA and a three-dimensional printer. It's exactly the same. So when somebody, a programmer down the line, wished to make one hole somewhere and you didn't want it, the hole is there because it was his wish. It's the same as what we see with ILS. You wish to die and the body carries with the order of the death, and we've seen it now from a Scandinavian nation, it goes down the bloodline. It's the same now. We see fibromyalgia in the age of 22, 25 bracket, which is unheard of. We've seen new cases coming up because of the social structure of abuse has moved to classrooms at a young age. Hierarchy of who has what and who has to be demolished, not to be shown. So the next generation will carry it because it's been in the DNA at the young age before puberty, so it's become part of the information. We will see RNA deformation, what we call fibromyalgia, in the new generation, next 2-3 generation of man, because of the abuse is done on the children before age of puberty. And I see a lot of them coming up. A lot of them coming up. Younger and younger fibromyalgia through the abuses in the structure of the hierarchy in the childhood, especially with girls. You look, you read, gave you all the answers. Every single one of them, word by word, fits into the psychological structure. When you have a dirty skin, nobody looks at you. Nobody likes to shake hands with you when you have a dirty hand. Now you make marks on your skin. It's dirty, nobody wants to touch it, so you're safe. Nobody touches you. You're immune from sexual interaction. All these diseases is to do with someone down the line who sexually has been abused or has consented to abuse but not wanting to. So systematically in the body has created these defects. That if I'm ugly, nobody looks at me. If I have a pain, nobody can penetrate me because then I have a pain. What are the cysts? And then, of course, it affects the hormone because hormone is part of the structure of your DNA. And then the structure of your RNA. One of the best places at the moment to learn into the structure of the science of biology and physiology is Wikipedia. The way it's edited and the way it's put on. Most of the time, 80% of the time, the first 2 paragraphs of Wikipedia gives you a very good insight into diseases, and then you have to look at it with the open eye of the space technology and the plasma and interaction of the fields, the soul and the entity. We teach this. You want me to move or do you want me to chop my head and move a different position? It's there. It's popping because I moved backwards. So this is what it is. This disease is genetic, which means the abuse it runs in the family, in the bloodline, and people who are abused in that kind of bloodline, they change and the next generation picks it up. So it moves into the abusive position to succeed this time that the gene can change. It's very much these kind of diseases, when it goes down the genetic line, it's very much like a gambler who goes to a club hoping to win and every time comes back a loser. And when it happens too many times down the genetic line, it stays as part of genetic and appears sooner and sooner, earlier in life. It can be passed on from the mother to a daughter. You don't need to go back many generations. Look at the mother if she lived an abusive life with the father, or the grandfather with the grandmother. When she doesn't wish to be touched, so that which is carried out through RNA to DNA is done to the child. So they see it as genetic. What is genetic? What means genetic? It means the order has changed to guarantee the survival, but by mishaps, it has changed in the wrong position. It's the right information in a different part of the place. And with the new technology, we show how this can be corrected. This Hashimoto. Hashimoto comes everywhere. Hashimoto is curable, it says. What about Hashimoto thyroid? Is it curable? Would you like to put Hashimoto online for you to read what is Hashimoto?
Coming up.
Is mainly majority, as far as I know, it comes with emotional effect. If you can remedy the source, the physicality corrects itself in time.
I can read the definition here.
Wikipedia. Always read, always read the Wikipedia.
Okay, Hashimoto's thyroiditis or chronic lymphocytic thyroiditis is an autoimmune disease in which the thyroid gland is attacked by a variety of cell and antibody-mediated immune processes, causing primary hypothyroidism. It was the first disease to be recognized as an autoimmune disease. It was first described by the Japanese specialist Hikaru Hashimoto in a paper published in Germany in 1912.
Go further. It's very interesting in the next few paragraphs. Just carry on.
Right, okay.
Then you understand, you get this.
Goes on with these signs and symptoms. There are many symptoms that are attributed to Hashimoto's thyroiditis or Hashimoto's disease. The most common symptoms include the following: fatigue, weight gain, pale or puffy face, feeling cold, joint and muscle pain, constipation, dry and thinning hair, heavy menstrual flow or irregular periods, depression, panic disorder, a slowed heart rate, and problems getting pregnant and maintaining pregnancy. Hashimoto's disease is about 7 times more common in women than in men. It can occur in teens and young women, but more commonly shows up in middle age, particularly for men. People who get Hashimoto's disease often have family members who have thyroid or other autoimmune diseases, and sometimes have other autoimmune diseases themselves. The thyroid gland may become firm, large, and lobulated in Hashimoto's thyroiditis, but changes in the thyroid can also be non-palpable. Enlargement of the thyroid is due to lymph... Okay.
Carry on, read that.
Okay. And enlargement of the thyroid is due to lymphocytic infiltration and fibrosis rather than tissue hypertrophy. Physiologically, antibodies against thyroid peroxidase and or thyroglobin cause gradual destruction of follicles in the thyroid gland. Accordingly, the disease can be detected clinically by looking for these antibodies in the blood. It is also characterized by invasion of the thyroid tissue by leukocytes, mainly T lymphocytes. A rare but serious complication is thyroid lymphoma, generally the B-cell type, non-Hodgkin lymphoma. Shall I continue with risk factors?
No. If we had Dr. Elia, she would have explained to you the present medical understanding and processing of this disease. This is another position with going back and understanding the work of thyroid and why has the problem with the immune system and autoimmune system. When you have a problem with the autoimmune system, in the world of science, in the world of space technology and the plasma technology, what does it mean? it directs you to one point and one point only. And if you understand this, as a lot of doctors listen to us, go into direct process of the digestion system. Go and look in the direct process of where the immune system of the body of the man is created and the system which is used to create it. When you have this disease, which they call it autoimmune system, you have to understand that thyroid and its subsidiaries, parathyroids, are responsible for the calcium within the structure of the body of the man, and conversion of calcium or other elements to calcium or calcium to other elements. When as you go back to the first 2-3 teachings of the health section, when the structure of the bone is changed, or the size of the lymph has changed in the structure of the digestion system, then you cannot produce the right T cell, B cells, and anything else which is to do with your immune system, because the lymphs, the right size energy lymphs, cannot pass through the bone to create the material for your immune system. Or the wrong size has gone through or goes through, which creates a different immune, what do you call it, T cells and B cells in your body cycle. And one of the reasons the whole disease goes back to solidification of the thyroid gland is because when the lymphs are of the biggest size, and they are the creator of the what they call immune systems, T cells and B cells themselves, birds with birds, doves with doves, wolves with wolves, as I always say. So now the lymph, which carries itself through the bone structure, and in that process carries the energy with itself of part of calcium, because all the immune systems have calcification in them. It's part of their structure. We always see calcium attached to the immune system. Then you understand how solidification in the thyroid gland comes in. So people with this disease of Hashimoto, you have to go back and look at the digestion system, the lymph size, and the bone structure, which is controlled by the thyroid gland itself. So this disease is curable, can be handled, if the physician understands how to handle it through a plasma technology. You have to change the strength of the plasma of the lymph in the digestion system. At the same time, you have to bring the work of the thyroid gland in order that can and only works within the parameters of the materials which are within the structure of the body of the man. Then in time, it takes up to 8-9 years to change the process. This disease is reversible. In fact, this is the same process as the side effects of what I call chemotherapy, but in a different version, but exactly the same. I don't like to handle Hashimoto, because the people who go through this process, even it's a painful and it's not a pleasant disease, they become very much attention seekers, and then they convert the disease, the free time, what I call the pleasure time, in trying to attain attention, because internally, physically, they don't have it, but because of the pain, they received a lot of attention. And then now, with being good, they don't get the attention. So the disease will not be there, but the attention seeking. This is one of the fairly easy processes to handle with for the doctors in the plasma technology. Any other question?
Don't see any more in the live stream or in the chat right now.
Are we starting with the Spanish straight away after this?
Yes, that'll be in about 10 minutes if all goes according to schedule, which it seldom does. But yeah, that's the idea.
That's the idea. As we explained in the Chinese section this afternoon, please try to listen to the next Tuesday workshop. It'll be live from SSI with knowledge seekers and with what I call a new structure. Is not a teaching as a health, but there'll be a total structure for the Keshe Foundation and the Spaceship Institute. We will open up a new cycle for man, and we will see how we will change the structure. It'll be it's the most important workshop or presentation ever done by the foundation next Tuesday. On Thursday, workshop, which is from 9 till 1 o'clock instead of 8 till 12, will be the opening of the Spaceship Institute inauguration with Lum University. And in time, you will understand the significance of next Tuesday. Anything else, or do we get a break?
Well, I'd like to thank all the people that have helped sponsor some of us to make it to the opening of the Spaceship Institute. So I thank you everybody for helping out in that manner, and it's made a huge difference, and it's made it possible for some of us to attend the opening that otherwise it wouldn't have happened. So thank you, and thank you. I think we can end it now if you like.
Yes, and then we give 8 minutes of break before we get
Yes.
What? Buenos dias, yes. I'm very useless in language, so we say goodbye and we start with a ciao next time. Thank you very much.
Right on.
See you in about 8 minutes. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much indeed.
And that ends the 27th Health Teaching Workshop of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Thank you everybody for attending. And next comes up is the Spanish Knowledge Seekers Workshop.